JAG University, episode 7, our favorite topic. And this is something that we discuss on both sides of the spectrum because there are pros and cons, right? Admitted versus non-admitted. I think those are the two biggest. I think that conversation happens daily in the office, right?
Absolutely.
And one is fear, not fear, right? Depending on who it is. We can go on this forever, but I wanted to break it down, Kevin. Difference between an admitted company and a non-admitted company.
Okay, so the biggest difference here is admitted is subject to state regulation, and it is also backed by the state guarantee fund. So that means that they're protected from going financially insolvent by the state.
Now, and that gives you off the bat some peace of mind, correct?
Yeah, it's like, hey, my insurance company is probably not going to go under if they can't afford to pay all the claims that occur due to some event.
Right.
Because the state of Florida or whatever state you may be in is financially protecting them.
So why do non-admitted companies exist?
So admitted companies, as they are subject to state regulation and they're backed financially by the state, so the state is incurring some sort of risk by providing them that protection, they also need to make sure that their underwriting and their rates and all of those factors are acceptable to the state as well. They're basically, the state is saying, hey, I'm protecting you from going out of business, but I also want to have a hand in how you're placing that business.
Sure.
Because you can't just be out there doing whatever you want. So, that's why that exists. But we'll take Florida, for example. Florida has a lot of crazy weather and a lot of crazy people.
A lot of unpredictability.
Well, yeah, it's a very volatile marketplace.
So you need an option as an insurance carrier to develop, right? That gives you more flexibility for pricing, policy forms, right? Dynamic enough to adjust to newer type of exposures.
Yeah.
Hence why the non-admitted option comes up. And most people are consumers, right? Depending on which fear tactic insurance agents are using, admitted, non-admitted. But most people are surprised to know that the same insurance companies have both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Different products from the same insurance companies may be admitted or not admitted by the state.
So you'll see someone say, "Oh, that's an admitted option. I have to go there."
Yeah.
But did you know that the other non-admitted option through a different distribution channel, which we just talked about, the wholesale broker role, is actually the same company, just a little bit different setup.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's what's really better, what's really not better. Well, we mentioned that admitted is subject to state regulation and it's a stricter marketplace. But, what if throughout the year your business operations are changing a lot? You're taking different types of projects. Maybe you're moving locations. You're in a volatile state.
Yeah.
Maybe a more flexible carrier might be a better option for you. So when we're weighing all these options and it's like, how do we decide what's safe? Okay, we have the admitted carriers being backed by the state. That takes that's a relief for me. Now that I'm not worried about them going under in the event of a large storm, but how are non-admitted companies demonstrating this stability? And that's through financial strength ratings, through AM's Best, and they're assessed for their reserve size and their financial strength based upon, their accounting and their balance sheet and all the assets they have and reserves they have. They're given a grade, like an A+. So it's the same grades you get in your schoolwork. If you have an A+ rated carrier, they're probably not going to fail. They're strong.
Some unfortunately are too big to fail.
Yeah. I mean,
because let's talk about it. Some of those non-admitted companies are the companies reinsuring the smaller, in some areas, admitted carriers as well.
Yeah. So
it's kind of a play on words, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, you being on the consumer side.
Okay.
If you want to break it down, how comfortable are you being with a non-admitted company? What do you look for?
I look for financial strength rating. If I see an A++ XV comes after for the size of their reserves, I have zero doubt in my mind that this company is not going to fail. It's just not. I mean, classically, look at Lloyd's of London, for example. They've been around for, 500 years, 400 years at this point, still going strong.
Well, they invented it.
Yeah, they invented insurance. And then, the big giant insurance companies that are super highly graded and financially stable, they're not going to fail. You're fine.
So when you look at an admitted company, does it stop right there? Like when someone says this is an admitted carrier, do you feel completely comfortable, even if it's not a rated company?
Yeah. No, I really don't.
Now, I know we can debate this a lot, but it's true. Think about it. So sometimes it stops right there and it's curious. And again, we look at it, what we're talking about here varies in different states, but there's certain, we'll talk about Florida specifically, there are a lot of admitted companies that are pushed as an option, but nobody asks what is their actual rating. That question never comes up when this debate happens. or most of the time. It's just it's admitted.
Yeah, and there's plenty of admitted companies that also have a high AM's best rating, that best of both worlds, and it's like, whoa, look at that.
That is a double check.
Yeah,
we have that. That's you get a passing grade.
Personally, I would feel more secure with a non-admitted carrier that has the highest financial strength rating versus a very small regional admitted carrier that's been around for 5 years that doesn't have a lot of money and is essentially just depending on the state, just in case.
Right. Yeah. So and that's why I think the second part, whether it's admitted, non-admitted, and you explained it correctly. I think the other question too is like, how is that claim being paid as well? So there are the pros and cons, right? Sometimes admitted companies, through the way it's distributed, you're actually going direct to the carrier.
Yeah.
Hence, sometimes you have a direct access to the claims department and so on and so forth. When you go on the non-admitted side, you go through what we talked about before, the wholesale broker channel, and it's set up very similar, but there's an extra step because they're actually being a third-party claims administrator to handle the claim. So sometimes the work is a little bit different, but I think either or, you said it correctly. It's about getting more information, not just admitted, non-admitted. It's who's the carrier, what's their rating, how long have they been around, what is their financial backing, and those are the second, third, fourth questions that need to be asked. Yeah, because we've been on both sides of the table when we're presenting.
Yeah, exactly. And the most famous answer for anything in insurance is it depends. That's always the answer. There's no blanket right or wrong for anything.
It depends, and explain it to me correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me some actual tangible facts.
Let's figure out what it is, and then we can tell you what's advantageous or not. Something I think that's interesting for insureds, how to tell at first glance if you're working with an admitted or non-admitted quote, just look for taxes. If there is taxes listed on your policy or on your quote, that is a non-admitted product.
Right.
If there's no taxes, you're admitted.
Well, here's the second part, and we live in South Florida. We look out behind me, we're not going to flip it, but we look at the skyline of downtown Florida. What are the percentages of buildings, right? $100 million buildings that are insured with a non-admitted carrier?
Yeah.
I would say 99%.
A huge amount of them. And
so there's issues. And I bring this up because, again, a lot of times, and we're in the business of selling, that's our job. But our job, what we're trying to do is to inform so people can make an educated decision.
Yeah.
Insurance is about peace of mind. If you have the info, you can make a decision that you feel comfortable with, good or bad. Yeah. Higher deductible, lower, higher deductible, admitted, non-admitted. But there's conversations I have where we're going into a home account, personalized account. And the conversation comes up, I need to be with an admitted carrier, never go non-admitted. I go, but that same carrier insures billions of insurable value. Yeah. 2 miles from your house. You don't think they're equipped enough to handle your house? Like it just sometimes it's the information too, and the mindset needs to kind of change and have that extra information of like rating, like you said rating, who it is,
who's backing
them as well.
Yeah.
And have that a conversation.
Yeah, because there's admitted carriers like Travelers where it's like they're so massive. I mean, that's like the cream of the crop, but then there's admitted carriers doing
valued partner, by the way, valued partner.
Travelers, love you. But then there's also smaller admitted carriers that we've just never even heard of. Maybe you come across one in a blue moon, they barely do anything, and it's like I would be way more secure with a secured, financially strong, non-admitted option.
JAG University, episode 7, admitted, non-admitted. And this goes out to the business owners. Ask those questions. Don't just stop right there. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's used as a scare tactic on either side of the coin. Yeah. Right? The question becomes who, what, why, and then where, I guess you want to throw it out there. Okay. But ask those questions. Don't just get more information to make an educated decision so you have the ultimate peace of mind.
Absolutely.